Doing a sound check real quick for those on Zoom. Commissioner Clark, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you just fine, Megan. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, welcome everybody to the Coburg Planning Commission. We've got Chair Jim Bell, John Marshall, Marissa Doyle, and Seth Clark present through Zoom. Staff present is Megan Winter. We're going to call the meeting to order and we'll take a roll call. Please just go ahead and identify yourself for the meeting. John Marshall.
Marissa Doyle.
Jim Bell. Seth.
And Seth Clark is on Zoom.
Yes, Seth Clark present.
With the 4 members here, we have a quorum, is that correct? Yes. And it started at 6:12 p.m.
Yes, we have a quorum.
Agenda review. I have 2 additions to the agenda. Review and discuss the goals and priorities of the Planning Commission and recruitment. Okay. All right. So tonight we have a presentation on this application. Is that correct? Public hearing is open at 6:14 p.m. The public hearing is for land use application SR 0122 and CUP-0122 submitted by Stephen and Colleen Sheehan. The application is for a site design review and conditional use permit I got a blank here. Restaurant and brewery on. Thank you. The applicable approval criteria and standards that apply for this application are found in Ordinance A 200-I, Article 11, Land Use Review and Site Design Review, Article 13, Conditional Use Permits, Article 7, Central Business District Regulations, and Article 8, Supplementary District Regulations. All testimony and evidence shall concern the approval criteria described in the staff report or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or land use regulations that the person testifying believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue with sufficient detail to give the hearing body and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue means that no appeal may be made to the State Land Use Board of Appeals on that issue. Before the conclusion of the initial evidentiary hearing, any participant may ask the Planning Commission for the opportunity to present additional relevant evidence or testimony that is within the scope of the hearing. Ex parte contact. Members of the Planning Commission shall not communicate directly or even indirectly with any applicant appellant, or other party to the proceedings or representative of a party without any issue involved in a hearing without giving notice. Note, communication between city staff and the Planning Commission is not considered ex parte contact. Do any commissioners wish to disclose any pre-hearing ex parte contact?
Yeah, I will. I serve with Stephen on the Heritage Committee. So I know we've discussed his project, before meetings and after meetings and during meetings.
Anyone else? Do any commissioners their spouse, brother, sister, child, parent, or in-laws have a direct or substantial financial interest. At this time, does anyone wish to challenge the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission or the impartiality of any of the commissioners? Staff presentation, please, by Megan.
Thank you, Planning Commission. Before you this evening, I have a presentation on a site design review and conditional use permit for a restaurant and brewery located at 91032 South Willamette Street. For this presentation, I'll give a brief overview of the proposal. I'll then outline the recommended conditions of approval and outline options that Planning Commission can take. The proposal is for a restaurant and brewery called Willamette Forks on Willamette Street near the intersection with Pearl Street. The proposed use in the existing Pollard House includes restaurant and bar amenities. The proposed use in the existing accessory structure includes a storage room and serving station. The applicant is proposing to retain and repurpose the existing buildings with no increase in building height, minimal increase in building footprint. The applicant is proposing a new accessory structure to include a manufacturing space for a brewery. Proposed alterations include site work to reconfigure the parking area as well as landscape, accessibility upgrades for vehicle and pedestrian access, upgrades to the building exterior for access and safety, and an interior remodel. Design for the proposed uses prioritizes maintaining the historic character of the existing buildings and the surrounding neighborhood. The subject property is zoned Central Business District within the architecturally controlled area and historic district and contains a comprehensive plan map designation of traditional residential. The subject property contains existing access and frontage on South Willamette Street. The existing structures are currently vacant and were most recently used for retail. Restaurants under 10,000 square feet are listed as a permitted use of the zoning designation under personal services. The applicant proposes a restaurant use of the subject property, and the proposed footprint of all structures combined is equal to approximately 3,400 square feet, which is less than the 10,000 square foot maximum. The proposed use is therefore allowed and subject to the site design review provisions. Alteration to a historic resource requires a conditional use permit. The historic resource, the Pollard House, is proposed to be used as a restaurant with outdoor seating located at the patio areas. The existing structure to the west of the site is proposed to be used as a storage space and serving station and is accessory to the restaurant. In addition, a new 980 square foot building will provide 2 additional restrooms to serve the restaurant and approximately 721 square feet of brewery space. The brewery will produce beer and spirits intended to be served at the restaurant as an accessory use. As I mentioned, the existing Pollard House will be used as a restaurant. As stated in the applicant's narrative, similar uses exist in the neighborhood, and the restaurant will produce a similar amount of noise and odor as established restaurants in the area. The site is designed such that outdoor dining occurs between the Pollard House and the accessory brewing structure. As such, the restaurant is not expected to create any perceptible odor, dust, smoke, noise, or vibration beyond the property boundaries. Brewing operations in the new accessory building will be by and large contained within the building and is a small operation consisting of 3 fermenters. Beer will be stored in kegs and fermentation vessels. Proof down spirits will be stored in barrels or stainless steel fermenters, which will be contained within the building. Brewing activities that are related to brewing that happen on site are not expected to create any perceptible odor, dust, smoke, noise, or vibration beyond the property boundaries. A nominal amount of milling will occur outside of the brewery building in the interior courtyard. Milling will occur during regular business hours between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Milling will produce a minimal amount of dust. The site is designed such that milling will occur between the Pollard House and the new accessory building, preventing any odor, dust, smoke, noise, or vibration from being perceptible beyond the property line. There are no proposed changes to the existing building height, setbacks, or lot size. A 10-foot rear yard setback is required and provided due to the traditional residential lot adjacent to the western edge of the subject property. The existing Pollard House is approximately 10 feet 9 inches from the rear property line. The proposed brewery is 52 feet 2 inches from the rear property line. The existing accessory structure is approximately 3 feet from the rear property line. The applicant is proposing the existing accessory structure to be left in place as an existing non-conforming structure. Building standard criteria are met and will be reviewed during any building permit process. The central business district is exempt from the minimum parking requirements of Section 2B, except that off-street parking shall be provided for employees and work vehicles. The applicant claims this exception with the understanding that the number of employees on site at any time will be less than 8. 13 parking spaces are proposed, including 1 van accessible handicap parking space as seen on the revised proposed site plan dated December of 2022. 2 bicycle parking spaces are required. The proposed design includes 4 bicycle parking spaces to the south of the existing covered porch at the front of the building. Proposed rehabilitation of the parking area retains the 2 existing driveway access locations. 1 access will serve as an exit only and 1 as an entrance only, in compliance with Lane County Transportation Planning requirements. The revised site plan for this development shows an entry only at the north access point to Willamette Street and an exit only at the south access driveway. Lane County Transportation Planning supports these changes and recommends that the city include this as a condition of approval. Therefore, staff recommend a condition of approval to be clear that the proposed site plan is for the restricted access and circulation plan shown on the latest site plan. Existing trees, new landscaping, and historic foundation stones provide a buffer between existing pedestrian sidewalk and parking drives to provide maximum safety and access for pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicular traffic on site. A dedicated service drive for trash and loading access is located to the south of the property. The intersection of Willamette Street at Delaney Street has curb ramps on all approaches. The applicant will be providing an ADA walkway from the building connecting to the sidewalk approximately 25 feet north of the ADA crossing on the northwest corner of the intersection. The applicant is proposing to enhance the pedestrian crosswalk located at the south corner of the subject property with striping and signage per Lane County Transportation feedback. Staff recommend the applicant work with Lane County Transportation Planning on the crosswalk enhancements as a condition of approval. The city did require a traffic impact analysis be completed by the applicant as part of the proposal. The applicant has hired Standout Engineering, a registered traffic engineer, to complete that assessment. In the applicant's traffic study, it is found that all studied intersections operate within the mobility standards with and without the development traffic, and the addition of development traffic does not substantially increase queuing conditions. The applicant's TIA scope was reviewed and agreed upon by Lane County and the city of Coburg. The analysis concluded that all intersections within the study area will continue to operate within the city's mobility standards and will not require further mitigation. Engineering found some inconsistencies in the TIA that are not expected to significantly change the outcome of the report, however, should be included into a final record TIA. Staff recommend the applicant incorporate city engineer comments into the final record TIA as a condition of approval. Staff recommend 5 conditions of approval. The first is that driveway access will include an entry only at the north access point to Willamette Street and an exit only at the south access driveway. Condition of approval number 2 is that signage and striping details for the pedestrian crosswalk shall be worked out during the final design and facility permit application process with Lane County. Condition of approval number 3 is that the applicant will incorporate city engineer comments into the final record TIA. Condition of approval number 4 is that the proposed outdoor patio is not connected to the historic fabric of the Pollard House per the Heritage Committee's recommendation. Condition of approval number 5 is that prior to the commencement of any construction activities, the applicant shall submit for and obtain the required building permits. Staff does recommend approval based on the findings, conclusions, and conditions contained in the staff report. I do have some options for making a decision, but we are not quite to the deliberation and decision portion yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. At this point, does the applicant want to make a presentation? All right, the applicant deferred. We will accept public testimony on this application. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak in support of the application?
No one is signed up.
Do we have anyone who wishes to speak neither in favor nor against the application, but wishes to offer neutral testimony?
No.
Do we have anyone who wishes to speak on opposition to the application?
We did receive one piece of written testimony in opposition earlier today that was sent out to the Planning Commission this afternoon. The main concerns were noise, odor, privacy, and property value. And if the commission would like, I can read that, or there is also a copy provided.
One like to have that read in entirety. Rebuttal, ask the applicant for closing remarks or rebuttal comments. Questions?
Now then, perfect. To speak to the letter, like Megan had already spoken to about the noise and the sounds will have no more noise than, we're early birds, so the restaurant will close at 9 o'clock. So it won't be a late night thing. We're not late night people. It'll be a family establishment. We're moving to Coburg, so to speak to that, we also, when it comes to other thing in the letter, was the smells. Yeah, there'll be your normal baked good, fresh dough in the morning, delicious smells that you'll have. There might be a steak or two cooking that you'll smell. So those are things. The brewery smells, when people think of a brewery, they think like Hop Valley, Ninkasi. We make in-house only. So our dust, our grain meal is a little motor about this big, and our meal is this big. Ninkasi takes up the room. Our meal is 3 feet high. Oh, sorry, I'm not in front of the mic, but our meal is so small. So just to address that, just any concerns you may have about a meal or dust or smells. The only thing that made a good bit of noise, not enough to really, not any more than a compressor from a restaurant or anything. We put that inside the brewery, so it wouldn't affect anybody in the surrounding area. As for smoking was addressed, like cigarette smokes, we don't allow our employees to smoke. So the good thing about it is, for us versus just a renter or a homeowner that came in that might have smoked cigarettes or cigars, they're not gonna have to worry about that because we don't allow smoking next to our building or on our patio. So there won't be any smoking. So that addresses the smoking issue in that portion. We will have live music, but like I said, will be same as like the concert in the park will be done before 9 o'clock on some weekend nights. It won't be every weekend, but we will have live music. And then there was one other thing as for property value, that one I would totally disagree with. Because if you look at the Whitaker neighborhood, or if you look at any winery that goes in out in the country, the property value skyrockets. And if you look at the Whitaker neighborhood that was really, really, really low priced, Hot Valley and Ninkasi came in and everything. Now you can't even get in there for anything less than $1 million. So property value will definitely increase versus decrease. So I think that pretty much addresses anything in that letter. And we want to be good neighbors as well. So any concerns they will have, they can also come to us and we'll work something out if it bothers them. And then if you have some questions in a little bit, I can answer questions too.
You might as well just stay right there.
Leah if it's technical questions, I only cook food and brew beer. If it's technical questions, we'll bring Leah up.
I don't know how technical my questions are, so. Serving station is.
A serving
I have no idea what that.
A serving station to me is it's just it's sort of just be like a storage for like we have extra plates or extra things that are, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, you're talking about the little thatched hut out there? Oh, yeah, it's just a. Oh, well, they would go and get other things, say you need more napkins, you need more, nothing happens really at a serving station except for
Going and getting supplies.
getting supplies. Mop buckets.
I envisioned the serving station being something that you were going to be serving alcohol or something out of that accessory thing for, for temporary use or something like that.
Not at this time.
You plan on any outdoor cooking or having outdoor fireplace?
We
wood-burning?
do. We will have we will have a barbecue, but it's like kind of like Chiefs, kind of like a smokeless one. We have a smoker one now. And then we'll have that barbecue in an area that it'll probably be between the two buildings. But it doesn't put out a whole lot. It's not a big barbecue. No, won't put out much more than a normal backyard barbecue.
And you would have a wood burning fireplace. Visioning that.
I don't think we have a wood burning fire. No, no wood burning. We have one that's fake that looks like a wood burning fireplace, but it's not a wood burning fireplace. It's the fake one in the areas, but it's not for,
There was a non-conforming structure.
Leah.
Is that the accessory building?
Yeah,
or is that the? Okay. You're saying your hours of operation are basically till
9 o'clock, we're done. Now, if there's a special thing going on in town, just for special events, we'll extend it maybe till 10 o'clock, but it won't be any more than that. If there's like something concert in the park and we stay with them, but it won't be anything. It'll only with approval. But our operating hours will be closed at 9 o'clock. And we'll do breakfast, so we'll be open in the morning early.
crosswalk that was mentioned, that's going to be right at the very south end of your ownership.
I think it's right in front of the big stump, the tree that burned down, if I'm not mistaken.
Has that been discussed with the county?
Yes, extensively.
The stump will be a chainsaw art piece, which we'll do this summer.
Are there any rebuttal remarks, asking the applicant for closing remarks or rebuttal comments? Staff have anything to add that specifically addresses a question raised during this testimony?
No, I have nothing further.
Does planning commission have any more questions regarding clarification of the testimony so far to this point? At this point of the hearing, we could entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
The motion to close it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 I will
Aye.
close the public hearing at 6:40 PM. We need to have the council deliberate and make a decision. Staff, help us by reviewing the three options that are suggested. Thank you. Thank you. So make a motion to approve the request based on the staff report and findings. Another option is to make a motion to deny the request based on findings to be prepared for denial. Planning commission would direct staff as to the basis for the denial decision. Third option is make a motion to approve with amended findings or additional conditions. Planning commission would direct staff on what changes are to be made. To take the top one to approve, make a motion to approve the request based on staff report and the findings.
I have a question of staff. We can add a condition. Is this a we're approving this, or is this a recommendation for approval?
Planning Commission makes the final decision. And yes, you can add a condition of approval. You would either need to give the specific verbiage of that condition now, or you could ask that it be drafted and brought back to you.
Thing that the applicant addressed it well, and that's regard to outdoor smoking. Although I kind of think, from a control standpoint, if you were to designate, make it a condition, to designate an area where smoking would be allowed, because he is going to probably end up having patrons that want to have someplace to go smoke their cigar or their cigarette, and make that the adjoining property, so it's out front. So that seemed reasonable to you guys? That we have some very proximity, some pretty close residences there, and that would be the first thing that I could see as a complaint. Tobacco smoking. Certainly. And have him say, you're with this or not.
Sorry about that.
Right, no problem.
Well, I want your concerns addressed, so.
Hearing is open. It's 44. Right, sorry.
So when it comes to that, and I saw that that was one of the concerns in the letter. So every time like I said before, if someone moves in, they could be an avid smoker, or like the trailer park beside me. Every time I go outside, I get a wave of smoke that comes from the trailer park. So we would probably have way less. And we don't allow smoking on our patio today at our other restaurant. So when it comes to, it'll probably be less smoke, because you could have a family of 10 smokers that move into a house, and which we're not gonna be that, because we're not allowing smoking on our patio. And I know you're saying that some people are gonna want to smoke, but we're a restaurant that we just don't allow. We don't like people eating and having a smoker around, so we don't allow the smoking. So we won't have smoking on our patio. And like I said, though, I have to deal with the trailer park. I get my customers are gonna have to deal with the trailer park smoke coming from over the fence. So to speak to the smoke.
Closing the meeting, hearing at 6:46. Yes. Continue with our deliberation.
Don't have anything else.
All right. Would there be a motion to accept? What are those three things again?
We would approve the request, approve the application. We would what we would want to hear in a motion, and adopt the findings.
Okay. I will make the motion to approve the application and adopt the findings as stated in the staff report.
Is there a second?
Just a question, including the condition. That's what's.
Yes, all of the conditions.
I'll second that motion, conditions.
All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
So the Motion is passed by unanimous consent.
Thank you.
This decision process from zoning code, is that?
We do also, now that we are finished with the commission business portion, we do have a set of minutes for approval that were also on the agenda.
Has anyone, got any corrections or changes to the minutes from the last meeting?
Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes of January 18th meeting.
Is there a second for such a motion?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Seth. City administration update? Shall we defer?
The city administration report for the month is included in your packet. If you have any questions, I will try my best to answer them. Otherwise, that is provided for your information only, and I have nothing to present on that.
Yeah. Questions, concerns? We are adjourned. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your help. Time is 6:49 and 21 seconds.
Thank you.